I had a question over on TikTok, and I figured this would get too long, but it was talking about side bite in a leaf spring car. And I don't think it's a whole lot different than side bite in any car. We'll break it down like some very basics. I don't know exactly how it works, but I will. The first thing you got to know is that a tire only has so much bite. It's got 100% bite. 100% of what it can handle. I don't know what the name of that is. Cohesion, friction, whatever. So if you're going forward, and that's the only direction, like a drag car, you can use 100% of that bite that you're getting forward. However, if you are sliding also, then that has to be a variable, a fraction or something, a percentage. So in a perfect world, let's say you're getting 50% and 50%. And basically, you're still getting 100%, but it's in a different direction. You're getting 100% of the bite in that direction. Okay? Moving forward, moving to the outside, getting 100%. And then the more you get on the throttle as you're coming out, you start moving this to 70% and this down to 30 because you just don't need it as much, right? You don't feel all that going. That's not going through your mind, but that's the way it's working. You can't get any more bite out of this tire than what you can get, what it'll give you. The thing is, the more bite that you can get is going to be by putting more pressure on it. The more you weigh it down, the more it's planted down in the ground, the more bite it has. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The less bite it has, the less traction it has. That's just it. Okay? So we got to keep that in mind. I got different colored pins in case I use them. I don't know what the hell I'd use them for. So we'll use a red one because my car is red. And we're going to be looking, the front is going to be forward. Let's look at the rear deck, rear bumper, and the spoiler on the car. So this is the back. We're looking at it, there's a roof, whatever. And we got some tires on this deal, rear tires. We're gonna make that one bigger because we're running a little bit of stagger, not a whole lot. Anyway. So to get drive off of the corner, everybody's wanting to load this one, right? You're wanting to, this is your left rear, this is our right rear. Everybody puts crossweight, not everybody, but we put crossweight in there, and you need this weight on the left rear to get forward drive off of the corner. What happens is if we unload this too much, then we lose our side bite. This is trying to load, the body's rolling this way. This is trying to get weight on it, but we have a whole bunch of weight on this. And so the car gets real skatey, maybe in the center, maybe just past the center, and it's just wanting to skate out toward the wall, the ass end. It's loose. In my mind, the only way to fix that is to push down on this tire more. And that's what I've done for years. But you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it on the scales. The thing is, you can run, some guys like to run low weight, and I don't like that. You can run your weight up. A lot of divisions have rules about it being under the decking, but that way when you're in the corner and it's up there, it's pushing down on that tire. It's pushing out on it, but it's pushing down. When you have weight down here in the corner, it's pushing out on that, straight out. It's probably helping it load some, but percentage-wise, let's just say it's not. It's just, and it's a shear force, right? It's just pushing it out. It's not pushing it down and helping it get by. Now, if you're in a division that doesn't have rules and you're willing to put lead near your cockpit, you probably have some down bars back here coming from your roll cage. Man, even like, I'm not going to recommend it, but I'm going to say, because I don't want anybody saying I recommended putting lead on the halo back behind them. But theoretically, if we did, you can get that lead even further over to the left than being up there as far to the left on your halo as you can get it, and you still get this downforce on the right rear when you roll into the turn and you get the body roll. And then as you're coming out of the turn and you're headed back out and things start to settle back down, you feel your car coming out of roll, that weight is coming down on your left rear. And so you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. That's also why like this can be more in the middle. I'm not a big fan of putting a whole bunch on the right, unless you just, maybe your car's built with a lot of left side weight. Sometimes in some sport mods and stuff that I drove that didn't turn well, we put left side weight, just be in the front, but more toward the center of the car. And I am a fan of trying to keep your weight in front of the rear wheels, behind the front wheels. Just keeping, and if you can keep it all in a small area, is even better yet. The other thing is running a stiff enough spring over here that it will accept this weight. Some people are like, oh, I get a lot of body roll, but I can't get any side bite. Well, if you're running a super soft spring on this right rear and it's just tucking up in the car, you got to be planting that tire. And I learned a lot about that driving for David Hayes that owned the spring shop, and he would re-arch our right rear springs often, like every third race. And I'd never gotten I'd re-arch them maybe once a year, right? You come out fresh for the next year. And he'd re-arch them every 3 races, and I was amazed at the difference in side bite. Like, you would put more arch in our leaf spring on the right rear, and we would actually start to wheelie these cars a little bit. And it was just from going in, planting that right rear, and getting a hold of stuff. I run the 225 on the right rear and the 200 on the left rear. And like, if leaf springs were cheap, I wouldn't be afraid of trying a 250 and 175 on it. I would kind of like to see what that did. Always, before driving for other people, we always run the 225 on the left rear, 200 on the right rear. But I really like it with those swaps, with the 200 on the left rear. And I like it. I think my car, if you've seen the other videos with the long shackle, it has a lot of droop on the left rear. It'll droop way down. So I like that being softer, having a lot more preload in it. even though our scale numbers are the same, I think in body roll, I think we load the right rear harder, and this still stays in decent contact. And I don't have any weight on the 723 car. It's old and it's heavy, but it still gets off the turn good, and that's that. So really in review, if you're looking for side by, side bite is just pushing down on the right side tires. I was going to say right rear, but you can push down on that, and then if it starts to push, you can push down on your right front, and you got a car that'll rail around there. And I don't know if it's just because like the algorithm or whatever, but I've been seeing more cars on dry tracks bicycle, and I attribute that to guys like running right side lead and running it toward the center of the car where the right front and the right rear is grabbing. And you got to be getting an amazing side bite to just bicycle a car all by itself. So your ride height's higher if everything else on your chassis allows. Your leaf spring roll center, and we're getting into a lot of stuff, is at the center of your lowering box, where they say that is. And so leaf spring cars have a fairly low roll center in them. If you were running a bar car, that's how that would be. And getting that weight to transfer over the top of that roll center to your outside tires, that's side bite. Stiffer right rear spring, side bite. Like if we were on a bar car and you put a bunch of bar angle in there, that's what you're doing. You're pushing down on it. And that's offering you side bite. Make sure your right rear has a good arch in it. If you've been running the same spring for 4 or 5 years and you haven't re-arched it or anything, just a new set of springs or somebody that knows how to re-arch them properly. I don't. I re-arch my own, but I'm not sure I do it properly. But when I drove for David Hayes, he's a badass with leaf springs, A1 Spring in Bakersfield, California. Yeah, he was amazing. Like the difference in side bite re-arching them makes is just amazing. So that's my answer. It's a long answer. Might not even be the right answer. But your question to my, but the question about getting side bite in a leaf spring car, that's my answer to it. I've done it for a long time. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the interaction on everything. I may not be great at explaining things. If you have more questions, hit me up in the comments, and I'll try and do another video on it. Thanks.